Mac was still standing at the edge of the driveway. "Anyone else here with you besides Mac?" Michelle asked. "Rose and Elvis," I said. "They're in the car." "I'm going to have a look inside the house." She fished a pair of plastic gloves from one of her jacket's pockets. She looked at me for a long moment without speaking. "You know how this works?" she finally said. I nodded. "We'll stay right here." Michelle started across the grass, and I walked back to Mac. "We can't go anywhere. Not for a while, at least," I said. He shrugged. "It's not cold, and it's not raining." He looked over his shoulder at the small white bungalow, then turned back to me. "There are worse places to be." His gaze slid past me. "Sarah, Nick's here," he said quietly. Out on the street, a black SUV had pulled over to the curb at the end of the line of police vehicles. Nick Elliott got out, carrying a boxy silver case, which I knew held all the gear he needed to do his job. He'd been working for the medical examiner for months now. He started toward us in his usual uniform of navy windbreaker and black pants. "I'll be right back," I said to Mac. I cut across the lawn and met Nick at the curb. "Aye," he said. "What's going on?" "We found a body in the kitchen." "Anyone you recognize?" I shook my head. "No one I know." Nick made a face. "I know there have been problems with drifters breaking into some of the summer places." "I don't think this was a drifter," I said. I looked up at him. He was just over 6 feet tall with broad shoulders and sandy hair he wore much shorter than when we were young. He was even more handsome and charming and funny than he'd been at 15, but sometimes when I looked at him, all I saw was the boy I'd had a crush on when we were teenagers, and not the man he was now. And sometimes I caught myself falling into the teasing relationship we'd had back then, in which we didn't talk about anything directly. "What do you mean you don't think this is a drifter?" he asked. I cleared my throat, wishing I hadn't said anything, but it was a little late now. "You should see for yourself, but the man doesn't look like a drifter. He's wearing what looks to be very expensive shoes and a nice jacket." Nick had explained to me once that it was his job to figure out what had happened at a potential crime scene. Had a crime actually been committed or not? It was up to the police to work out the who, how, and why. "Was the door locked when you got here?" "The front was," I said. "I don't know about the back." Nick patted one of his jacket pockets. Checking for gloves, I wondered, or his phone. "Did you notice if anything was disturbed in the house?" I rolled my eyes. "You've been inside that house, Nick. You can't exactly tell if a box is out of place." He nodded and grimaced. "Yeah, good point." Then he looked over at the house. "Is Michelle inside?" I nodded. "I take it she asked you to wait." "She did," I said, suddenly feeling more than a little uncomfortable. This was the 3rd time I'd found myself connected to a case Nick and Michelle were investigating. "Okay. So you and Mac found the body," Nick said. "Strictly speaking, Elvis found the body." He raised an eyebrow and didn't completely manage to keep a smile back. "I'm going to need to ask him some questions." "I'll tell him not to leave town." Nick did smile then. "I should get to work," he said. "I'll need to talk to both you and Mac later, though. You'll both be at the shop?" I nodded, shifting my weight from one foot to the other. "We can't do anything here. As soon as Michelle says we can leave, we'll head back. I'm going to have to call Stella at some point. This is going to move our timeline back." Nick looked over his shoulder at the house again. "I'm guessing she and Ethan want to get the house on the market as soon as they can." I knew that Nick and Ethan Hall, Edison Hall's son, had played hockey together in high school. I wasn't sure whether they'd reconnected when Nick moved back to North Harbor. "I think it's been a bit overwhelming for Ethan," I said. "The old man was never one to throw anything away," Nick said. "I was in the garage a few times back when Ethan and I were in school. You couldn't fit a car in it, that's for sure." He gave his head a slight shake at whatever memory had just slipped into his mind. "Anyway,